This is a Brazilian traditional meal. I will take my full bowl of black beans and manioc meal also. Like farofa. But it's not farofa because it's not cooked. And in this way, I can be prepared for everything. This is how Brazilian people get prepared for doing things. It comes from Brazil. And this is officially finished. I don't have farof anymore. I need to buy it. I need to buy it. I find this beginning for a video, it's a perfect beginning for a video, because so good. Because I want to share with you another things that I studied for my exams. Like yesterday, I studied for the course of communication of organizations, communication d'organisation, and it talks about many things. Actually, it's very broad. We learned things, practical things like event communication and brand image and brand awareness and those type of things. But we also learned about communication in general of an organization, because those are she do this difference. She explained this difference between the two approach that we can have with communication of organizations, which is one is a strategical approach, like how we are going as communicators do and create a strategy for designing the brand imagery and the brand awareness in a way, or enhancing those aspects of the enterprise. But there's also this general interpretation, which is how things works naturally inside of an organization. I got a WhatsApp message, sorry. And I find really interesting, because actually we start with the Jacobson model, the Jacobson, sorry, with the Jacobson model, which is a schema is a graphic, is an image, is a drawing, is a way of analyzing communication relationship, analyzing some communication. So it comes from someone, a message comes from someone to another person in a context through a channel and in a specific code. And we learned that for analyzing, for example, publicity and communication content from enterprise. And two things that I found really interesting on that is, one, because I'm a contemporary artist and doing my art bachelor, I learned about art and meaning, and I think some things that I'm learning in communication were also taught to us in visual arts, but in the art context, in the art context. So when speak in communication about a message that is communicated through a medium, is actually the same thing that happens in contemporary art, because we want to communicate a message through a specific medium, for example. This is one of my funniest and believed, loved, I don't know, artworks. It is a flag, underwear flag actually, from ex-boyfriends. And this is a series where I do many flags of underwear ex-boyfriends, ex-boyfriends underwear, sorry. And in contemporary art, we call that a medium. It's just a fancy name for it's explaining the material that we are using. So in this case, I'm telling a message, which is about can be a complex message, like, because I'm talking in every dialogue, we talk things that we are not actually talking also. But in this case, it was about how we conquest people and how we are conquested by people. So how we occupied our the territory of other people through love. So how in love relationships and sexual relationships, it is a question of someone that got into our lives and are now conquesting our lives in a way, and how those relationships of love and of desire between people can be also affected by other types of conquesting in history, in human history, as colonization and all types of conquest, like a domination aspect of human nation, which is conquesting territory and conquesting cultures and conquesting people, and how in our relationships between people, maybe we are not like conquesting people in what is the name? In in a way that we see the person who we love as a property from us. So I did that because I had many relationships in life, and I also have almost always been polyamorous. So my relationships was always open relationships, and I still believe in how we need to be critics about the way we have relationships with people. And this is just to say that I can talk about all those subjects through this image, through this underwear, which is actually ex-boyfriend underwear. And this was one exercise that I did with my boyfriend, my current boyfriend, how we could use the Jacobson methodology to analyze message and analyze the medium and everything. But the thing that was most interesting in the subject of this course was not even that. It was how at some point of the course we learned about proxemy. I think is proxemy in English. In French is proxémie. In Portuguese, I imagine that is proxemia. I'm not sure, but in French X is proxémie. No, sorry. In French is proxémie. And proxémie talks about how people can be closed from other people, and what that means, what type of relationship they have in each distance, and what they are communicating between themselves with those distance. So it is a study field that I think it started with, I think the name is Edward T. Hall, because I only noted E.T. Hall, and he was from United States of America, and he did this graphic to explain how United States people have different relationships when they have different distance between themselves. So from 15 to 45 centimeters, this is the intimate area. From 45 centimeters to 1 meter and 20 centimeters, we are in the personal area. And from 1 meter and 20 centimeters to 3.6 meters, we are in the social dimension. And after 3.6 meters, we are in the public dimension. And it's really funny that, because she says that this is different selon segundo. This is different for each culture and actually each person, how distant they can be from other people, considering their relationship type. And and this is really funny because I was talking with Valentin and telling him that actually for us, like in Brazil, I could say that sometimes the intimate dimension, the intimate field, like 45 centimeters 45 centimeters is something that we do with everyone. So I remember myself from like this week, I went to my first contemporary art, visual art event from the region, and I met people there. And one of the persons that I met there, I really like it because I like the style and the personality and the vibes. And I remember myself like touching him when I was talking, and when I was studying that, I was like, oh my god, I got into the intimate dimension with him. But this is such a Brazilian thing. Like I think we are used to get closer from people in an easier way than Europeans. I think Latins in general, people from Latin America in general, but maybe also like North American people, because I really had this judgment towards United States people, for example, because in my mind they were like Europeans because they are from the global north and everything. But actually they are very chill. And I think maybe they are like a little bit like us in the south of America too. And was very funny because he draws a relation between spatial distance and social distance. So how we are distant from someone physically can be interpreted as how we are socially distant from someone also. And there are many studies about that. And in this field of study, they can also think about how the space is designed to promote social connections, or how it's designed for avoiding people to communicate between themselves. So how a round table, for example, could facilitate, make it easier people to connect with themselves, and how like normal offices where each person is distant and separate from other people is designed in this way to avoid people to communicate with themselves. And they create a word for that, which is social fugue. I'm not sure if it's this name in English, because in French it's sociofugue. Sociofugue is an space. Fugue is a space that favorizes desolation between people, and a space sociopath in French is the space that favorizes communication between people. And also people can be fugue and sociopath. So sociopath. So I'm a person sociopath. I will get closer to you to talk and to get to know you, and I want to give you a hug since the moment that I find you a cool person. Even if like we met 1 minute ago, that can happen. That can happen in Brazil, like at least in Rio, that happens. That can happen. Because I don't want to generalize Brazilian people, but we are of course more social people, and we are of course more touchy people also, and we are more warmer, and we make friends easier. So this was something that I really, and we have different values from European people, from United States people, and from people from all over the world. And this is what I found very interesting in this study in communication, which is how people relate how people relate with other people, and how this can be analyzed, and also this can be designed to be different. And during this study of proximity, there was also like I don't remember why, but there was some mention in cross-cultural management, which is a field of knowledge also that helps people from different cultures to get together in an environment. So this can happen in an enterprise, for example, like people that come from different countries. But also I imagine like an university, because in our masters, half of the people are international people. Half of the people are not French, that was born in France. There are many people that come from different places. They are not francophones. There are people that are francophones but come from different countries. And I think this is really interesting to learn how we can manage different cultures, because this is something really important to my daily life. Like in Brazil, we don't have vous. In French, if you don't know French, they have two ways of talking you, which is tu et vous. Tu is the you, the informal you. Tu is how you're going to speak to someone that is young, probably, but also someone there is not a difference of hierarchy between you both, or even someone that you know, someone of your family, but in general is someone that you can talk in an informal way. And vous is the formal way. And that's a lot. Vous means like sir or madame in English too. I'm not sure. Mrs. Vous is for like monsieur et madame, monsieur. And is what you use when, as a young person, you talk normally with an older person, or even if you talk with someone like in the middle of the street, you will probably use vous. And if you talk with a teacher in the university, you will probably use vous. But this doesn't exist in Brazil, like at least in Rio, like at least what I know. I never use that, because we actually don't have two different words. We can call people like sir and miss. We can call like senhor e senhora, but it's something that we add to you, the normal you that we use to everyone. And we don't even use that, like at least in yeah, like I have two different experiences, because I went through the art bachelor, and I'm diplomate in arts, so I passed many years in the art course in art university, but I also did 1 year of physics. And even in physics, we didn't use sir and vous, the vous in Portuguese. So this is something that is really hard for me, because I'm in my basis, in my cultural basis, I will arrive to a professor and call him or her for the using the first name, because French people don't do that. French people calls the surname, and I will talk to. So it's really hard for me, like having this necessity to conjugate everything in another way, because we need to conjugate the verb just to talk in a formal way. And also this distance between student and teacher, student and professor, they are smaller in Brazil, in my experience at least. And this is such an interesting thing because my desire is just to arrive and call all professors too, and call all professors like as friends and normal people, and like because we are having classes every week. Why culture, French culture, tell me why I can call my class colleagues too, just because they are from my age and in the same position that me, and me and the teacher cannot call ourselves too. Anyway, that's why I find really interesting that, because I think even for an university class, it should have this type of interest of learning better how to manage all those cultures and all those people that come from different places and have different values and different ways of communicating themselves in the same place. And we are actually in the master of communication, so we should communicate better in the master of communication. Yeah, proximity, really interesting subject. I want to learn more. I'm thinking about. I really want to use this cultural approach in my research to the master if I keep studying the master until the end, if I don't give up meanwhile. I think I'm going to do a thesis about cultural differences. So maybe about language, and I talk about searching indigenous language from Brazil, or I would do something about how people relate between themselves differently in Brazil and in Europe. For example, using the tu e vous, and how I would like to do like an experiment. I was thinking about doing an experiment next year, just arriving in the university and calling every teacher to, without contextualizing, and like taking notes of how they react and what's changed in our relationship. I think this is a good research to do. I will maybe do that. Thanks for watching. Now I will eat my Brazilian meal.